Hi guys, Rebecca Connolly here. It's time to start answering your Ask the Author questions, so I've got my list right here in front of me and we'll get right to it. Do you picture any of your characters looking like certain celebrities? If so, which ones? So I don't set out to make my characters look like celebrities, but if in the course of describing the characters and figuring out what they do look like, I can think of a celebrity that looks like that and that would do really well, then I try to kind of make that work, because it's easier to work with building a character if there's somebody with a picture that you can work off of. To follow up on that, there was a question of how do you determine a character's description? So it's kind of like The Voice, that TV show. I have a character in mind and they have more of a personality than an appearance in my head. So I just try and go off of what I can imagine them doing, and eventually their physical features kind of start to make themselves known to me. And then I can kind of put that all together and it works out really well. So our next question is, what inspired you to write in the Regency era, which is my favorite? I do. And do you have plans to write a novel in a different era? Well, I like the Regency era just because it seems like there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that, but that doesn't mean that I can't go into the Georgian era right before Regency or venture into Victorian after. And I do have some ideas lined up for definitely for some Victorian, and we'll just see if anything Georgian comes up. Maybe I'll work some contemporary in there, I don't know, but the Regency era kind of stuck with me. I'm a very big fan of Jane Austen, which you all should know by now, and so I wanted to do something kind of in that era, something with that style of character and living. Okay, the next question is, you have some very strong, complex characters. Thank you, which I love. What is your favorite thing about your female characters, and which one do you relate to best? Oh goodness, I just love my female characters. They are so fun. I love that they're all a little bit independent in their own way. Moira is blatantly independent. She is just crazy and feisty, and I love her. Kate was very strong-willed, but proper, and that was kind of fun to play with, that balance there. And Mary just wanted to live a little, and she was just a good person, and I just love that about her. But she had a bit of snarky attitude, and that was really fun. And this new character, Annie, was something completely different, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but she has some serious strength to her, and I think you'll find that. And I think I probably relate best to Mary, just in the way she handles things and in her nature. Hopefully I don't necessarily lose myself the way she started to, but it was a growing experience for her, and we all have growing experiences. Okay, the next question is, are you going to write David Chambers' story? If you remember, David Chambers is the brother of Derek, the Marquess, and David is a very entertaining character, and I did have a story planned out for him, and it hasn't really taken form yet, so we'll see if that comes about. But I do know what happens to David. It's just a matter of figuring out how to best tell the story and where to put that in. So look for that in the future, and we'll see when I can actually make that happen. Okay, next question is, how on earth is Colin going to fall for anyone, or how will anyone fall for him? Well, really, who hasn't fallen for Colin just a little bit in reading about him? Colin is the most unique character ever, and he's just great. And I think you will be very surprised by his story. It's not at all what you'd expect. His book is The Burdens of a Bachelor, which is coming out after Duncan's book. So you can anticipate Colin's book being released in April of next year. And I won't tell you much, but I will tell you that the tagline that we've decided on for that book is "A fair facade hides many scars." So take that for what you will, and just be prepared. Colin's going to take us on quite a ride. Okay, next question is, if you could choose one of your books to be portrayed as a movie, which would it be? That's a tough question. I think I would love to see how Derek and Kate translate to the screen. I think that would just be fantastic. Oh my gosh, can you imagine some of those fights? Oh goodness. But you know that scene in the ballroom with Jeff and Mary at the end of Secrets of a Spinster? I know exactly how that goes out as far as a movie form and setup. I can see it all in my head, and it would be really, really fun to see that come to life too. And there's some books coming up in the future that would be phenomenal on screen. So if anybody's willing to make a movie of any of my books, I'm more than happy to let them. Okay, next question is, how do you decide what to title your books, and have you ever regretted one of your titles? I haven't regretted any of them yet, but it did take me forever to come up with an arrangement of sorts. I just couldn't figure out a good title for Nathan and Moira, because when I'm going for titles, I'm trying to figure out how to come up with a theme for the book, something to describe what's going on without giving anything away, or a condition that we can deal with in the book. And for Nathan and Moira, that was really hard and nothing stuck. And finally I came up with an arrangement of sorts in a way to kind of be a little bit of a nod to the irony of their situation. So I really have fun coming up with titles, but it's hard. It's surprisingly challenging. And sometimes it's just kind of something that comes to me. Sometimes I get really easy ideas, like Secrets of a Spinster. That was a good one to come up with. Collins, The Burdens of a Bachelor. That one wasn't too difficult. Duncan's was hard. The Dangers of Doing Good was hard. That went through a couple different revisions. And some of the books that come later have been hard to come up with, but so far I haven't regretted one, so we'll see if that changes. Okay, next question is, do you have the next book already written? The answer is yes. That's Colin's book. It's done. It's coming in April. And how many releases do you think you'll have in 2017? Well, that's a fun question. There will be 3 full-length novels coming out in 2017. So that's Colin's book, and then 2 following, and I'm not sure I want to give anything away there, but they're in the same world as this series. They're kind of 2 spin-off books, if you will, about characters that you have met or will meet. Because I have a problem with supporting characters. They just take hold and I build stories for them, and then I have to tell the stories. But then also there are going to be 2 novellas being released next year at least, both of those in January. One is in an anthology, and it's called A Season in London, and my novella is called A Sporting Season, and you will absolutely love that. If you read the snippet that I posted yesterday, you will see a little bit of that, and that's just fantastic. And that's in the Timeless Regency collection, so you'll really enjoy that, I promise. And then the other one is in Kindle World. My friend Soraya Wilson has a series called The Royals of Montera, and I've written a novella for her world there called Royal Rivals, and that's a contemporary set in her world with her series, and I really enjoy that one. It's really fun. So there's at least 3 novels and 2 novellas, so we'll see if anything else comes out next year. Okay, last 2 questions. First one is, what music inspired your most recent novel? And I have to say that for Duncan's book, I was inspired by the soundtrack for The Impossible, which is an incredible film. Lots of gorgeous strings in that soundtrack, and it just seemed to fit with Duncan and Annie really, really well. And a couple other instrumentals that I really loved. And then the theme song for it, it's a Bon Jovi song, ironically enough, and it's called, I think it's called Superman, and it just seems to be Duncan's theme, and it's Duncan's story, and it's just a fantastic song, and I love it so much. Last question is, what is your writing kryptonite? I'm easily distracted, so the internet is a big problem for me. I also tend to write with other things going on, particularly period dramas on my TV, and I will get distracted. I just will. I am prone to distraction, so if I can figure out a way to not distract myself, then I can be really productive. Sometimes I am also hung up by new ideas. That seems to be a problem for me. New ideas, new series which is what has happened to me recently. It's just new ideas and wanting to start something new, even though I love what I'm currently working on. So that's my kryptonite, and we'll see if I can figure out how to get around that. So thank you everyone for your questions and for participating in this Ask the Author event. Don't forget to pre-order your copy of The Dangers of Doing Good and start reading tomorrow as soon as you can download. So thanks everyone. We'll see you later.